What is up, everybody? Welcome to the second episode of Fun Basketball. The first episode, me and Bibbs and Mavs Draft went over the Southeast Division trades. Today, I'm going to be going over the Northwest. But quickly to recap, at the literally as I hit stopped recording on the first episode, my phone started going crazy because of the Chris Paul to Phoenix rumors. So if you been living under a rock, there's a huge rumor going around about Chris Paul going to Phoenix. Jimmy Fallon wants him on the Knicks, as far as I know. But I think Chris Paul to Phoenix makes a lot of sense, and if it ends up happening, that would be good for them. And also, the Russell Westbrook stuff started popping off. I think my days are all scrambled, so I think it was 2 days ago. Basically, Russell Westbrook wants out of Houston, and from what I've heard and what I've read, it's because of ownership. I don't think it has anything to do with James Harden. Maybe it does. There was the report about him wanting the ball more and yada yada yada, but the style of play he uses, I mean, I don't know. I'm a big Russell Westbrook guy, so I'm not even going to get into it. But without further ado, today I'm going to be going over Northwest trade options. The Northwest division includes the Blazers, Thunder, Wolves, Jazz, and Nuggets. There's a couple of very interesting trades in this one, specifically the Nuggets and the Wolves. The Jazz and the Wolves. Those are definitely my favorite options. And joining me is one of my favorite cap guys on Twitter. You can find him on Twitter at I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm so sorry, bro. It's at LALTENMBA. He's part of a podcast group called Wolves Among Us, and he also writes for Hoops Habit. Oh, I don't know if it's a podcast, but anyway, Logan, go ahead and tell Mavs Twitter all about what you do.
So it's actually a Wolf Among Wolves, and it's just a blog that has a few podcasts with
Okay.
it. But yeah, I'm a big Timberwolves fan. Spend half of my free time on a few NBA forums doing trade stuff anyway, so it's gonna
Yeah.
be fun to talk about them.
Yeah, definitely. And I really like Logan's account because I'm a big Cap guy. Cap is one of the biggest reasons why I love basketball. This next week is going to be absolutely insane with free agency and the draft and everything else. And it looks like we have a special visitor that just popped in. Special visitor, want to say
What's
anything?
going on? The rumors are true. There's a
Alright.
special visitor.
Special visitor. That is the voice of Mavs draft. He just popped up in here.
Who?
I know sources. So the first trade, let's just jump right into it. I'm gonna go from least exciting to most exciting. So the first one I have is the Nuggets. I the Nuggets one's a little difficult because they have some players I want. Obviously, Jeremy Grant would be amazing in a Mavs uniform. I just don't see any way they let him go though, because why would they not want him? And Michael Porter Jr., I don't even know where to begin with that guy. So I went ahead and just thought about, well, what could we get rid of and what could we acquire that would at least help us in the short term. So I went ahead and did DeLon Wright and Dwight Powell and Bobby for Gary Harris. Gary Harris has not been playing too terribly well the last couple of years. After he got his extension, he decided to just kind of coast, but he is a decent enough shooter and a decent enough defender to where we need any help on the wings. We need as much help on the wings as we can get, and we need to be super desperate about moving on from Dwight Powell and DeLon Wright. So I think Gary Harris is at least something that we should look into. But I'm not too thrilled with this trade. But what do you think, Logan? What do you think that we could take from the Nuggets?
Yeah. So with Harris and that trade, um, I actually think Harris is a good part of what Denver does. He like when he came back from injury in the bubble, he's a huge part of what like pushed them over and helped them win a few of the series. Um, and I don't think they would move him for bad contracts.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe,
think so.
maybe if you added 18.
Yeah. I mean, I would add 18 to get. I would add 18 and 31 to get off of DeLon and Dwight, but that's just me. Yeah, that one's not very exciting. To touch on the Nuggets though, I really, really, really want Torrey Craig. He's coming up on unrestricted free agency. I don't think they plan on probably bringing him back, and I don't think he's gonna be. I don't think he's gonna cost very much. So I think Torrey Craig is definitely something to look at there. Moving on to the Thunder though, unless Logan, you got anything else about the Nuggets?
Um,
It's kind of a tough one.
no, not really. They have a bunch of guys that like are that in that shooting guard, small forward range that are like will err on this like smaller side of things. And to me, the Mavs' biggest need is like a power forward, small forward with like the airs on the more power forward side of things that can guard the bigger guys like LeBron.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I like. I mean, I think Torrey Craig. That's why I kind of want Torrey Craig. I think he is a smaller guy, but he can definitely play up on bigger guys. Obviously, we don't really have much to stop LeBron or guys like that. So moving on to the Thunder, I actually talked about this one yesterday with Mavs draft because everyone I want on the Thunder, I don't think the Thunder would be willing to give up at all. And I don't necessarily want Steven Adams, but what I do want is cap flexibility. So for this one, and you're going to hear a lot of this, it's DeLon Wright, Dwight Powell, Justin Jackson, Bobby, and either the 31st or 18th pick for Steven Adams. Steven Adams obviously is getting played off the courts in the playoffs. He's not the player he once was. He's not the defender he once was, but he is better than Salah Medri. So I think we should at least take maybe a flyer on him, rent him out for a year, and if it's not working out, he's 25 million dollars off the books next summer, which depending on what we do with Tim Hardaway could open up a max contract slot for Giannis. But what do you think about this, Logan?
Yeah, I think
I mean,
the
I want
Thunder
Luke
probably
Dort.
stand pat.
Yeah. You think the Thunder?
Oh,
Yeah, on this one, I don't. It makes no sense for the Thunder at all. Yeah, but
oh, but I would say that something like if there's something that could interest the Thunder on the low side of things, like um, I wouldn't hate Abdul Nader as a Mavs target.
I wouldn't either. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't either. So yeah, the first two they're kind of lackluster. Not much to go on there. This is where it gets interesting though. I got Portland up next. So there's a few. I want Gary Trent. I don't. I think he's restricted, but either or maybe he's not restricted, but it's the last year of his rookie deal. But I don't see any reason why they would give him up. So one of my best friends in the world asked me. I don't particularly care for this player too much. I mean, he's good, but I don't really think he fits the need, and I don't think there's any way the Blazers would do this. But she asked me to make a Nurkic trade, so I did it. The only way I think the Blazers would do it is if they got off the salary of Ariza, which is expiring anyway next year at 12 million. But my trade for Nurkic and Ariza is Tim Hardaway, DeLon Wright, and the 18th and 31st pick for Nurkic or Ariza. What do
I
you think
was
about
thinking the other way with that.
thinking the
I
other way?
I
You
was
think
gonna say Nurkic for like Maxi and Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yeah, that's the problem because I I watched every Mavs game. Those two guys are our entire defense, so I don't want to. Nurkic is a decent defender, but I don't want to get rid of our entire defense to go grab a playmaking big who can't really shoot. Um, and Ariza, I mean, there was not really much to see from him last year either, so I don't really know. I don't think Ariza would even come close to covering what Dorian Finney-Smith does or Maxi. But I don't know. I think the best part about this though is like Nurkic's playmaking ability next to KP would be beautiful basketball. But
Oh,
you
yeah.
would lose a lot of scoring. Obviously, anything to get off the right contract though would really propel this team. I feel like. Richie, you got
Yeah,
any?
one of
Oh,
like Nurkic's like things though would be him and KP paired together would be really fun on defense.
It'd be fun on defense because I mean Nurkic is he's a bigger guy, but he's not slow. You know, he can keep up with people, and you know as long as KP and so in my scenario we still have Maxi. As long as KP, Maxi, and Nurkic are on the court, and you know if a guard blows by one on the perimeter, someone is going to be in the paint to be able to stop him. Um, so yeah, I like that trade. I just don't know how quickly I am to pull the trigger. If you told me, like if you guaranteed me that that we would dump Tim Hardaway for a big like this, but somehow we would be able to get, you know, like a league average 3-point shooter and like at a decent clip, I would pull the trigger, but just straight up how it is, I probably wouldn't do this trade. But so these next two trades are definitely gonna. Anyone who's listening from Mavs Twitter is probably going to send me very nasty messages because of these next two trades. I I don't understand the Rudy Gobert hate. I actually think last year he played his best basketball until the shutdown, which a lot of people say. I mean, which we all know like what happened March 11th with Rudy Gobert, but the Jazz have been one of the best defensive teams the last 4 years. They've been one of my favorite league pass teams because of it too. Um, and I said on the first episode I wouldn't trade Tim Hardaway in a lateral move. Like I wouldn't trade Tim Hardaway to get another guard. I wouldn't trade Tim Hardaway to get like more shooting. But I would do Tim Hardaway Jr., Bobby, and the 31st pick for Gobert. Gobert's nearly expiring. I think next year's his last year, and excuse me. And I think give him Tim Hardaway. They'll get some shooting. They already have one of the best offensive players in Mitchell, and then they of course have Boji, who will be coming back next year hopefully. Um, so I mean, if they're going completely small, this makes sense for them because then they'll have Royce O'Neal who can shoot threes. They'll have Joe Ingles who can shoot threes. Who knows what Mike Conley's going to do, but he'll be able to help create on the offense. And then they'll have Tim Hardaway and Donovan Mitchell. So not a lot of defense, but I think that's a super fun lineup. And then obviously we get our big man and we get our rim protector who can help out KP and let KP go back to his natural position. And then having two of the league's best rim protectors on the team it's kind of a no-brainer for me, and I don't really know why it's a discussion. Everything I see always has oh, Gobert doesn't play in the fourth, blah blah blah, and then I'm literally watching us play the Jazz and he's blocking all their game-winning shots. So I don't know, Logan, what do you think about that move?
Yeah, I would love Gobert on the Mavs. Him plus KP would probably be one of my favorite big men tandems.
Absolutely.
But again, I'd probably ask for Dorian Finney-Smith and Maxey.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, and Gobert is one of the very few players I'm willing to do that for, but the contracts don't match with those. Like if I did, it would be Dorian, Maxey, which that's 12 million, and Gobert makes 27. So I mean, it would be Dorian, Maxey, and Tim Hardaway. It would pain me to do it, but I would do it if that were the case.
Yeah, something like Dorian Finney-Smith, Maxey, Hardaway for Ed Davis, Rudy Gobert, and
okay. What about Tony Bradley instead of Ed Davis?
I probably wouldn't give him up.
You wouldn't
I'd
give
add
up
negative value to Gobert to dump Ed Davis's contract as like a incentive for the Mavs.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean I think he only makes 8 mil next year. But yeah, I see what you mean. So what about let's do Dorian and Seth, which is 11 million, plus Maxey, which is 19 million. And then Dorian, Seth, Maxey, Bobby, and Justin Jackson. All of those contracts, either the Maxey and Dorian contracts are steals, and then the other three are expiring. And then I guess if they really wanted, they could take a pick too. Because I'm if I'm the Mavs and I'm trading for Gobert, I'm doing anything I can to keep Tim Hardaway on this roster. But I would trade Tim Hardaway for Gobert. I just wouldn't trade Tim Hardaway if you're taking Maxey and Dorian. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I mean, I don't think the Jazz would lose too much sleep over not getting Tim Hardaway.
Yeah,
I think they'd be pretty happy to just bring back Clarkson on a
yeah.
smaller deal.
Which is that's a guy I'm definitely interested in signing with us for the free agency market. All right, so any other trades or anything else you want to discuss before I get into this Wolves trade? Because this one is going to I've already talked to you about it, but this one is definitely one that needs a lot of explaining.
Let me quickly glimpse through all the teams and let's see. No, I mean maybe if Joe Ingles
Yeah,
comes off as a bad fit again to start the season with Conley, maybe the Jazz might move him, and he'd be a fun guy to try and take a flyer on.
yeah, and I really want Royce O'Neal, like I said, but they just extended him, and they would be very stupid to just let him go, especially on that deal.
Yeah.
But so as most Mavs fans know, uh, we have Kristaps Porzingis, and I love Kristaps Porzingis. My favorite type of basketball player is a 3 and D tall guy, and that is exactly what he is. In fact, he's tall. He's the tallest. Um, Before I go any further, I want everybody to know that we have Luka Doncic, but in right before the shutdown, Kristaps Porzingis was the best player in basketball. He was the best player in basketball. He has an award to prove it. From February, he was the Western Player of the Month, and on an incredible clip, it was like 30, 12, and like 2. Um, I love Kristaps Porzingis, but it's one of those things where like you see what you love, you see a guy from afar, and you're enamored with him, and then he comes to your team, and you're like, oh, like these are his problems. So I don't know, Logan, how closely you were paying attention to it, but there was a Lakers game in December where Kristaps I like got hurt during the game, but I think he ended up playing the whole rest of the game, and it was a back to back, I believe, or maybe it was a couple days later. We were playing the Thunder next, and during warm ups, Kristaps got scratched. No big deal. That's whatever, you know. It was a back to back, and either it was a back to back or it's one of those things. We just played the Lakers, and it was a tough game for us. So you know, everything like that could have happened to Kristaps happened because I mean, Anthony Davis was just bodying him. I think Anthony Davis got hurt that game too, but Anthony Davis was bullying him, and LeBron was bullying him, and of course they had Dwight and JaVale. So he got scratched from the Thunder game, and then for 3 weeks, Mavs Twitter, for 3 weeks, 13 games, Mavs Twitter and everyone on online was wondering what was going on with Kristaps because the team wasn't being very clear. At one point, he was sick. At one point, it was a knee soreness, and then at one point it was this and that, and then he comes back right before the All Star break, has a decent couple games before the All Star break, comes back after the All Star break, and like I said, just absolutely lit the NBA on fire for the whole month of February and most of March until the shutdown. And then of course the shutdown happens, and 6 months go by. We're playing. We get through the 8 seeding games, and I think he missed 2 for just rest. He wasn't hurt or anything. And then we get to the Clippers. Game 1 happens. Kristaps gets ejected off 2 technical fouls, and he plays the next 2 games. Has an amazing game 2. Absolutely, he was the best player in game 2. Um, and and then played game 3, and then right before game 4, which I talked about with Mark Followell on the Ballscast. He got pulled, late scratch from the game again, just like in December. Uh, and that is a huge red flag for me. I would not do a lateral KP trade at all. I wouldn't do like a KP for Chris Paul. I wouldn't do like KP for anyone that you're hearing the name of their name in the trade market right now. I would do like a Bradley Beal for KP swap. I would do like KP for Giannis. Like I hold KP in very high regard, so I wouldn't do it for a lot, or I would have to get a lot back. So my point is about all that. If I'm not getting a superstar back for KP in a KP trade, if I'm not getting, Bradley Beal or Giannis or, Carl Anthony Towns, something like that, if I'm not getting any of those things, then I want guys who are going to, who my team can develop and who can grow in our system. Um, so I have a Josh Okogie, Jared Culver, first pick in the draft, 33rd pick in the draft, and is it James Johnson? I think it's James Johnson for Kristaps Porzingis. I know you're probably going to be very quick to say yes, but I'm just wondering. I'm wondering. Everyone's told me I'm crazy. I mentioned this thing in the last episode too, but I think if Kristaps is if this sort of thing where he gets scratched and then we don't hear from him for 2 weeks happens again. I think you have to at least look at doing something like this. But what do you think, Logan?
I would say yes so fast that like I would run over to wherever the NBA's transactional offices are and like hand deliver it.
Yeah.
That's how badly I would accept this. But just to talk about that hot month of KP, he played the Timberwolves on March 1st, and I remember watching that game and him just crushing us.
Let me see. I look at the Bucks.
And he ended up shooting 13 for 25, 42.9% from three, with 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 blocks, 1 steal, and 38 points. And that was my last impression of him before the bubble popped back up, and having him and Cat together would be amazing.
I mean, those are the two best shooting 7-footers in the league, hands down. It's not even. I don't even know who'd be third. I don't even know if it's close.
Jokic.
Yeah,
or Myers Leonard. He's really good too.
I guess, but we're talking about volume players who like Muscala. We're talking about volume players, who can do other things. Cat obviously is one of the best passing big men in the league as well. And he's also just a good low post scorer. And Kristaps is, one of the best rim protectors in the league. So I mean, yeah, like I just want nobody is untradeable to me. I think there's a trade to be made for everyone. It's probably one of my biggest faults, but I like there's not a lot that would make me move off KP, but I really like what the Wolves have to offer. And then in the first pick, I know it's not the strongest draft, but developing young players is something we're good at. Unfortunately, most of the time, the young players we get are, and I'm not knocking Dorian and Maxey. Most of the players we get are undrafted guys because we don't draft, and everyone we get through free agency is a 35-year-old point guard. So the only way that I think you can acquire young guys like Okogie, who I am absolutely in love with, and Culver, who I'm probably biased towards because of Texas Tech, the only way you're going to get KP out of my hands is if you give me 4 solid players who are young and who can develop and grow around Luka. Because, I mean, Okogie's not a shooter. Culver should be a shooter, but he didn't shoot well until Robert Covington.
They're both people are working on their things. They're not good shooters right now.
Right, but I mean, Okogie at least can create space just by cutting for, someone's going to be open if Okogie's cutting into the basket because Okogie is so lethal. Okogie is so lethal at cutting. And then where I like this particular trade is Okogie and Culver are perimeter defenders, which is the number one thing we lack and like the number one thing we need. So that's where my head is at. Even though you're losing KP, which is our elite rim protector, I feel like it's a lot easier to get decent enough rim protection if you have a bunch of perimeter defenders around you that can help out. So that's where my thought process is. But I don't want anyone to think I'm just like, let's get KP out of here, or like I'm not in a I'm not even really necessarily hitting the panic button unless this happens again next season.
Yeah, and I think that'd be one of the things I'd be afraid of as a Wolves fan too, because
Yeah.
if you look at our history, our team isn't the greatest with keeping guys healthy and the medical records of everything.
See, and that's what's weird. That's what is like also frustrating, or not frustrating. That's what also worries me about KP is we have one of the best medical staffs. Like we keep people healthy. Dirk was healthy his entire career until except for the 1 year in 2003, and then until the very end. With the ankle, and then or yeah, it was the ankle twice. So I mean, yeah, and we have Casey Smith. So he's on the USA training staff. So I don't know. I if K so we're playing 72 games next year. If KP, and I'm assuming there's not going to be very many back-to-backs. If KP can probably get, I don't even know if he can play 50 to 55 of those, and at least be there for the playoffs. And as long as he's healthy, like I would take him over Culver Okogie in the first pick, no matter who it is, and no matter what you offer me. But like on a max, we've never had like a max deal guy. Like we've never had like guy like with this potential. So I don't know. It's very interesting to me. It's something I'm gonna keep my eye on. Logan, thank you so much for hopping on with me, and I hope you had fun, and I hope you get some Mavs Twitter love after people hear this. But yeah, definitely everyone be sure to go check out Logan if you have any cap questions. He's always one of the first people I ask too. So definitely go give him a follow, give him some love. And Logan, you got any last words for the fine people?
No, I'd
No.
suggest a Luca for Russell on the first big trade, but aside from that,
Ah. What about Luca and D'Lo? Oh no, we can't make that work. What about you get everyone besides KP for Luca or for Cat and D'Lo and the first pick?
probably do it.
Ah, that's crazy. I wouldn't do it though. I mean, I love Cat. It would be hard for me to say no to Cat, but I wouldn't do it. All right, thanks again, man. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. Everybody have a great day.